All right, welcome to Live Saga TV. It's now 7:08 p.m. in Kenya away, and we are delving into about 4 stories or more. Yeah, so I don't know, how have you been since yesterday? We were here on the live stream yesterday around 8 or maybe earlier. So this has been a happy Sunday. Welcome. Thank you so much for supporting me. We are growing slowly by slowly. I know before we know it, we'll be at 1,000 subscribers, and that's our dream for now before we push for watch hours. So I really appreciate your support all time. Don't think that I'm taking for granted what you're doing for me. It's so great. Building a political channel is not easy. There are a lot of people who attack, they bunker and all that, and you do not understand 1 or 2 things here and there, right? Yeah, so I really appreciate your presence, and I appreciate your support actually. Na hiyo rangi msimalize. All right, so this is Live Saga for you, and into the house we are dealing with about 4 things. Guys, I'm just listening to the one term. Hudson Fundi, karibu sana, welcome. I'm so happy you are here already. Top fan number 1, big up to you. I hope you had a nice day. I had a nice day, and of course, if you check on my other channel, you will see a video about a function that we are conducting somewhere. And possibly I'll be posting a different video on either a different channel or just the same channel. So thank you so much for supporting me. If you are new here, please subscribe to the channel. Remember to like the video also. It's also very important for me. And share my videos with your friends. Maybe you have friends who don't know about this channel. Please show them about this channel. And if you have comments about what I'm doing, also you're free to share and actually comment. So I really appreciate you guys, you big friends, big fans. You're so supportive. And when I was unwell again, a lot of you came in to wish me well, which is a very great thing. I'll not forget that. So I hope you're fine on this Sunday as we start a new week. Of course, we started the week today, and we hope for the best week possible as we come to the end of a term in high school and prepare for the exams in various levels, grade 6 with the KIPSEA, grade 9 with KGSEA, and Form 4s with KCSE. I wish all the candidates the best of luck and success. All right, so let's proceed into our discussion, guys. Do you know that Seychelles, Seychelles has finally spoke? You know, the incumbent Patrick Hamini has finally got to become the president of Seychelles, 1 term. Ha, Wahome Lucy. Wahome, welcome. Thank you so much for coming here, Wahome Lucy. Hudson Fundi, big up to you. Like the video, please. Abhijet Mohanty is saying how to study for long hours without getting distracted in high school. Oh, you wish me to take that as a topic? Maybe if I take it as a topic, I would be just doing a short for discussion. But I do much of that on my Facebook page. and also on my other channel, Edutainment for Us. That is where I do such discussions on matters school. But if you want to study for long hours without getting distracted, you need to devise various ways of revision. You cannot only use one way. Like you cannot pick a book and start reading the notes. That one you will be distracted for sure. But have variety of materials. You can have questions, you have videos, at the same time you have the notes, so that you move from one thing to the other. And also you cannot study one subject for long hours. You can piece around several subjects. Maybe you run from English, go to history, come to mathematics. Then you'll realize that you'll study for long hours without necessarily having distractions. Thank you for asking that question. I hope my little advice will help. But if you want to know more about such discussions, I do them on Edutainment for Us channel, where I do a lot of discussions in relation to education, lessons. I even do some revision questions or review, mocks and what have you. So thank you so much, Abjeti Mohanty. Welcome, welcome. Here we are discussing political aspects, analysis deep into this. Now, do you know that Seychelles has decided to speak on one term, and they have picked a new president. Somebody who was once accused of witchcraft has finally become the president of Seychelles. His name is Patrick Hamini. He has beaten the incumbent in a stunning victory, and actually we want to get to that story right here. Yeah, one term is unstoppable, guys. Yeah, Africa is speaking. I don't know whether Kenya will speak also. We are waiting. Yeah, when people are tired, a narrative can be changed. So let's check on Seychelles. What has happened in Seychelles?
So we will use everybody, integrate everybody, and in return we expect loyalty and integrity.
And written off has just defeated incumbent Wavel Ramkalawan in a run-off election that stunned not only his nation but the entire continent.
I got 52%, 50%, so 47% did not support me. But the country cannot be run on 50% of its population. So we will use everybody, integrate everybody, and in return we expect loyalty and integrity. The country comes first.
It is not just an election result, it is a political statement echoing far beyond the turquoise waters of the Indian Ocean. And if listened closely, the same rhythm is pushing in Kenya's streets, where the WANTAM movement grows louder each day. For Wavel Ramkalawan, this is a poetic collapse, once a symbol of reform.
Yeah, Wavel Ramkalawan was the former president of Seychelles, and he went to vie for another, he went for another term, actually as a candidate, only to lose it to this guy right here. And I hope you've seen it. This is not just a narrative for Seychelles and what we saw the other day in Malawi. It's actually a narrative that is being sold in Kenya. However, in Kenya, there are shortcuts being created. Will they be beaten? That is something we have to ask ourselves. How do you feel about this Seychelles story? Let's dive into it before we come back to Kenya.
Lavish billboards, they mobilized communities. Their rallies felt less like political events and more like movements. By the time the parliamentary elections arrived, the signs were clear. The tide was turning. United Seychelles swept a parliamentary majority, and weeks later, Hamini sealed the presidency with 52.7% of the vote. It was not just victory, it was vindication. Now here is where it gets interesting, because the same energy that swept Hamini to victory is quietly brewing in Kenya's WANTAM movement. WANTAM, a slang born from Gen Z frustration, captures the collective defiance against political deceit, corruption, and generational exclusion.
Actually, when you look back into the aspect of campaigns and all that, it started as a Gen Z movement. The Gen Z came up to say that they are tired with the president of Seychelles, and they demanded for one term. They went to the streets with guitars. You know, for them it was music on the streets. And later on, the citizens saw the sense of actually pulling for one term. And currently, of course, as we speak now, Patrick Hamene won elections with 52.7% in elections. What do you say? What do you think about Kenya? Do you think the same narrative might be working? Let's ask ourselves and see into it. However, there are several things that are working against the one term. And let's see into it. One of the things is the scrapless registration of voters. Can you imagine in Ethiopia, not in Ethiopia, in the Kenyan borders, actually a lot of people in Isiolo, Garissa, and all those sides are complaining that we have people who are taking IDs, yet they are not Kenyans. They are Somalians, for example. When you go to the borders of Taveta, we have Tanzanians getting the IDs. You go to the borders of Uganda, we have Ugandans who are getting the IDs. And so are Rwandese citizens and many more are gaining IDs when they are not citizens. Why? Because it was simplified. The vetting process was actually rubbed away. The acquisition of an ID is free, and you don't really have to take documentation for you to get it. Now let's get the noise that is coming from Northeastern currently. Let's look into this.
Was celebrated loudly by Northeastern leaders led by Aden Duale, who said it was a step towards Nalumu nani? Do you remember when the government quietly scrapped the Somalia anachukua sasa yeye amesema free kesho nani Nalumu nani? Do you remember when the government quietly scrapped
Nalumu nani? Wewe Ruto, nalumu nani? Nalumu nani wakati watu kutoka Somali wanachukua ID? Nalumu nani? All right. So that is the narrative currently at Mandera. So the locals are complaining and sounding an alarm to the president that people who are not Kenyans are actually gaining the IDs. Do you think the president is shocked or surprised at this? Is it intentional that these people acquire the IDs and vote for him? Possibly. And does he really believe that they'll automatically be voting for him instead of the opposition? Let's check into it.
Process for national IDs along Kenya's borders. But the move was celebrated loudly by Northeastern leaders led by Aden Duale, who said it was a step towards ending the historical marginalization of Kenyan Somalis. Because on that day, in that field, you signed a decree that will be remembered in the history of our country. That you said Kenyans must be equal. The citizenship of our country belongs to Kenyans. Huyu Rais William Ruto ni tofauti when it comes to our community. But down in Mandera,
so, all right. Aden Duale was so excited and happy to see the president actually relieving the people from Northeastern and letting them receive IDs. And also, there was an announcement in 2024 that declared that even foreigners, especially from Somalia, would now become Kenyan citizens. Now, people, you remember the other day, just a few weeks earlier, we had 2 Somali boys who are being hunted for having stepped on the Kenyan flag. If they really honor Kenya and are patriotic about Kenya, would they really step on the flag? Or is it only to enhance trade and easy way of acquiring land in Kenya? How is it easy for a Kenyan to go to Somalia or Tanzania and gain a piece of land there? These are matters we have to discuss. Yeah, it's easy to integrate, to do business and acquire other things. But then when it comes to matters ID, any country should be strict about who gains what. Let people get these things through the rightful channel, because I don't believe letting just a free entry and people acquiring IDs just like that would be safe for Kenya. It's not. It doesn't sound right. Anyway, Mandera currently now they're crying over this because the locals are missing out on IDs while so many people from outside are gaining IDs. All right. Would they be possibly maybe paying some money to the people in charge? That is something we can't actually know. Hudson Fundi is saying one term is real in Kenya. The day this regime engaged in killing young children, that was the end of it. Of course, there is nothing sad as killing somebody's child. Do you know, you would rather kill me than kill my child. At least I have lived. But when you kill my child, you are killing my future. And that is really an aspect that demonizes a government and makes it look like it's so brutal. Because if someone can kill a child, what else can they not do? Right? What can they not do? If someone can kill a child, then they can do anything else, including young children who are in houses. Bullets were straying and shooting them from their windows, you know. And after that, the CS Interior comes out and says that, yeah, let them be shot, you know. Then the president comes and says, don't shoot them in the head, shoot in the leg. And we are like, how sure are you that the army will be checking where the head or the leg is, right? So let's go on with the aspect of Adwan Duale here.
Usiku ukaenda maghrib kwa msikiti, kurudi kupita barabara ni shida. Ni watu wa drugs, ni wanawake na wanapandana kwa barabara. Juzi wakati nimetoka msikiti hivi, ikiwa mimi naenda kwangu nyumbani, nilikuta wavijana wawili na wasichana wanafuta sigara kwa barabara. Niliongea, kwa nini nyinyi mnasimama mahali aina gani? Wameniambia kama wewe unataka roho yako kutoka bana, tembea bana, ongea juu yetu. So sasa nimegoba, nimetoroka tu polepole. Ikifika saa 11 mpaka saa 3-4 kupita huko ni shida. So tunaomba tafadhali sana security yetu hiyo angaliwa kabisa. Hiyo mahali imekuwa too much sasa. Sio watu ambao wa Kenya ambao wanatusumbua. I don't know why watu ya Kenya, sisi wa Kenya hatuwezi enda bandi, tukienda tunashikwa. Hii watu wanavuka yote over thousands wanaingia hapa na hakuna mtu anashughulika. Kwa nini?
Hata tuite msichana anaitwa.
Yeah, can you imagine? There's a lot of insecurity currently at Mandera, with the locals actually decrying the government to act. And the fact that the IDs are just being given randomly, the verification aspect or vetting process has been killed and suffocated, becomes a problem to Kenyans. And I do not understand whether the current government knows that what eats the rest, the locals today will be eating everybody tomorrow. If we look at the Juba situation, for example, the Juba army, I don't think that if it's not curtailed or rather stopped as early as this, it may be invading into the country. Now you can imagine a situation whereby these people at Garissa, Isiolo, and those other ends, Mandera, will be allowed into the country and given IDs. What will they do? If currently they are coming as foreigners and they have this power to speak and even threaten the local chiefs in those ends, what will they do? Somebody said at once that if we are not careful as Kenya, there is a time whereby foreigners will actually stray into the country and will get the worst, you know, the worst end result. And I'm beginning to believe that, because I'm seeing that happening right away. From the reports coming from Mandera, I actually see a lot of danger. Anyway, what does Ruto have to say on this?
In agribusiness,
let's skip this part.
Is everything. One delivery late.
All right.
To justify it.
I also committed that we are going to eliminate the old story of vetting, because it discriminated on some Kenyans. Today, our constitution and the law gives us the opportunity to make refugees Kenyans. Now, if we can make refugees Kenyans, what business do we have asking questions about other Kenyans and whether they are Kenyans or not? And it is the reason why I made the policy decision to get rid of this thing called vetting, because in any case, it was not based on any law. It was just an administrative issue.
It wasn't just a goodwill gesture. It came with strings, or more precisely with billions. On May 30th, 2024, Kenya received a staggering 156 billion Kenyan shillings loan, equivalent to 1.2 billion US dollars, currency of the World Bank. But according to documents from the Refugee Legal Network, one of the conditions attached treats refugees and asylum seekers.
All right, so you understand that this aspect of Ruto actually doing away with the aspect of vetting is actually being tied to refugees. But do you really think that everybody who comes to Kenya as a foreigner is a refugee? And if vetting process is not there, how will you identify the aspect of a foreigner and an individual from within? Now, one question I may ask is, if I go to Uganda today and stay there even for some, will I be registered as a Ugandan citizen? If I go to Tanzania, maybe even stay for 6 months, will I become a Tanzanian citizen if I want to acquire an ID? Will I be given? What if I go to Somali, Rwanda, Somali, Sudan, or even any nation? Those are the questions our president should be asking himself before he says whatever was there was not in constitution, but it was just something that was placed. Because whoever placed it must have a reason. Yeke 8. Yeke 8. Hi, welcome here. Thank you so much, and subscribe to the channel if you're new, because I can see that name looks new. Like the video also as we move to the next step, because now we are through with that. But now, guys, the other thing that is going to actually is trying to suppress the one-term narrative is the goons. Are you aware of the goons that are running in the country? Of course, in Western, we have had a situation whereby Wetangula himself, the speaker, is being actually blamed for the goons that are harassing people around Kitale and all over the places. All right? Now, we have seen such a situation in Western through Bungoma ends and Kitale. And we are so sure that other areas also experience the same. The other day, that is around August, we had also goons that attacked Gachagua and his team in Kakamega. Now, currently, there is another attack that was ventured in Embu. However, that was an aborted one, a prematurely aborted goon attack. Let's check on this. Let's check on this. Embu. That was the ugly scene in Embu, guys. You remember Embu had UDA were actually not to UDA. Why am I saying UDA? Yeah, UDA goons had actually planned to attack the DCP rally in Embu. So what they did, of course, we saw the common vehicles. You remember the vehicles that once stormed the Sabasaba? Yeah? Saga? Managu. Yeah. Yeah, we remember the goons who attacked Sabasaba Day. Yeah, and you remember also those who attacked during the we had this riot that happens over Gajuang, or is it Ojuang or Kajuang? Ojuang, all right? So these goons had also been planted in Embu to attack the DCP, all right? And it happened that people are so fast to act. The citizens did not allow the goons to survive. What happened is they were sent away. People stood around and chased them away to make it successful for DCP. So do you think the one-term aspect actually requires the citizens to be strong on the ground? I would say yes. Because for one reason, if you look at Kitale aspect, where Wetangula had actually brought the goons to attack one of the people, is it Pepela? So Chris came out with a gun to stop whatever was happening there. When you look at Kakamega aspect, I think it was somehow, again, citizens were for whoever the rally. And I don't know why people actually believe in goons as a way to distract the rest of politicians. I once said here, Jamaican politics was so interesting. If you watched Jamaican politics, you could see PNP, they are passing by JLP. They are using the same streets, going different directions, but they never, ever had goons in the question. You could see them, calling each other names and all that, sometimes blaming each other, pointing fingers. But there is no time I saw in any video Jamaican two parties, JLP and PNP, having any fight. So, wagwan, people from Jamaica, you're so great. You really can manage to have emotional intelligence whereby you don't have to stand with a party as if it's your oxygen or your chest or your part of the body. So Kenyans should actually mature in their politics, because when I look at what is happening, it's not even, the campaign time is not very ripe, but already we've begun to see goons. And what this is trying to illustrate to us is that going forward, we are going to have a lot of attacks, a lot of goons, a lot of bad blood in the political situation. Now let's look at this. Later on, as Gachagua arrived at the scene, what happened? Let's look at this.
Songo ametubeba ufala, anapatia MP pesa apange vijana watupe mawe pale kwao, anapatia vijana matatu, anawapatia bodaboda, anawapatia posho mili. Hapa mtume anapatiwa pesa apee vijana watupe mawe, alafu akakunywa pombe. Ni mjinga si mjinga? Ni mjinga si mjinga? Hao viongozi wetu, huyu Karinda ni msaliti si msaliti? Karinda ni msaliti si msaliti? Huyu Mudi ni msaliti si msaliti?
All right, so this is a panic that actually unfolded. If you check the earlier part of the video where I was showing how the guys actually reigned in Embu and how they began to attack before they were switched away, it's such a scenery that you would run away from and you would not step again in any scene close to this. And that is why I'm saying the one-term narrative in Kenya actually needs strong-hearted people. People will be resilient and ready to actually go a long mile. It's not going to be easy like Seychelles and Malawi, but actually it's practical. It can be. Because if you don't want any leader that is currently there, let it be an MC, a governor, a senate, a woman rep. Because when I look at most of them, what they are doing is looting, shooting, hooting, looting, shooting, hooting, looting, shooting, hooting. They are not here to do anything for the citizens, right? And with that failure, if we continue to maintain them, we are going just to suffocate in poverty. And we'll keep complaining about Kenya, 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 Kenya. when in reality it's about our leadership, because leadership really matters. If you get a leader who is ready to fill their stomach, give themselves luxury, change their everything and all that, their lifestyle, then all they do is about themselves, not about the people. We need leaders who will take care about the people, not themselves. Because if you see a leader who is putting on any clothes of millions, actually I don't see how that can be a real leader. Anybody putting on a belt of 500,000 when a lot of students are suffering, they have not paid fees. A real leader who is putting on a watch worth millions when a lot of people don't have even a house. Some of us are struggling with loans. You can't even afford 1 million in 8 years as a loan, That's a joke, right? That's a great joke. Anyway, so far then, another thing that we were saying may work against one term is projects. What am I meaning by projects? We have these politicians who vie so that they can be paid something and they settle in the government as maybe nominees or something. Now this narration has been surrounding Natembeya and Matiang'i. So for once, Matiang'i came up and said, I'm not a project. Let's listen to him. And what do you think? Do you think Matiang'i is a project, or is he just a genuine guy who is being misinterpreted or mistaken? So in one funeral, Matiang'i came out to actually disillusion that narrative. And let's listen to him. We have to give him a listening too.
Funeral service of Peter Munya's grandmother, Judith Mwakairo, the former CS said he cannot work with anyone under the current administration.
You can't work with them. The attitude towards public service and public resources is one you can't tolerate.
He also said that the country is on the verge of collapse due to poor governance and vowed to bring about meaningful transformation if elected president in the 2027 general election.
Unaangalia unashangaa kwa countries that have the capacity we have, how you can run certain competent establishments when you are just surrounded by plenty of resources to enable you manage the country differently.
Position to embrace democracy by respecting the different views of each leader. He also urged Kenyans to register to vote so that the country can elect transformative leaders.
Niko tayari kufanya kazi ya kutengeneza nchi yetu. Yale mambo ambayo yamefanyika si mambo ambayo hawezi kurekebisha. Tutarekebisha. Mungu akitujalia hiyo daraja fix the challenges of this country.
Meanwhile, PNU leader Peter Munya insisted the opposition flag bearer won't be picked in secret, as Jubilee's Jeremiah Kioni confirmed Matiang'i as the party's presidential candidate.
Kama ni wakati wa kuchagua yule atawania kiti, tutufanye kwa uwazi.
Yeah, all right. So we are seeing that kind of battle in the opposition, but at the same time, goal to ensure that there is one term and to ensure that they have a government that is going to work for the people. And if that narrative will actually sell and give us a better candidate, as it has happened in Seychelles or Malawi, we will be so happy. We will be so proud and happy. Because a country that lacks financial muscle is a dead country. However much we'll work hard, work so much early in the morning, go to work until we tire. The reality is that we will not actually reap anything. We will not reap anything. Okay? So look at even Tana River. Tana River, the leader there was actually speaking and saying they should forget about the aspect of two-term. Now you've seen that in the previous 2 weeks, William Ruto was working so hard for two-term, making sure that he collects people to the State House, gives them some 10,000 Kenyan shillings, and then sells the narrative of two-term. But now, that narrative is being worked against by the likes of Matiang'i, Maraga, and even the Tana River governor, and Natembeya, Sifuna, and anybody who is speaking. However, one thing for sure, unless they unite together and give us one candidate, that's what we are waiting for. And of course, citizens are ready for that. I believe that's what many citizens are waiting for. Anyway, the other thing that is actually nasty in the country, and we really want it to actually come to an end, is this question on Raila's health. Many people have been questioning, and I don't know why there is a lot of privacy about this aspect of Raila's health. You know? What is so wrong with coming out and saying he's a bit unwell but he's receiving treatment and people will shut up? All they are doing is denying while another person spells differently. So yesterday, we had OBURA, the brother to Raila Odinga, saying something different from what the wife had said. Let's just listen to this. And remember, Raila Odinga is actually being blamed for the two-term narrative.
Also to take this opportunity to clarify the air. There has been a lot of rumors about our party leader, Raila Odinga, that he is very sick, that he is almost dying, and that he is completely out. But I want to tell you that Raila is up and about, and he only, just like any other human being, was indisposed a little, and he is now recuperating and resting, but he was not in those conditions which have been put in the press.
He was indisposed and what?
And I want to tell you that very soon you will see him back.
So you hear what Obura Odinga said. Obura Odinga, as the brother to Raila Odinga, said that he was indisposed and unwell, and he's trying to recuperate. Did you hear me, my friend from Kisumu, or from Siaya, or from Nyando, or wherever? Yeah, here we recuperate if we have become indisposable. So did he use this complex English so that Kenyans don't understand? I don't know, but I'm trying to make one. And what I can get is that he's trying to tell us that Raila Odinga was unwell, but he's now trying to work out on his health. Now let's go back and see the person who shares a house with Raila Odinga. What is she saying here? Though she's speaking in her own mother tongue, we can understand. Luo is not Germany, and even if it's Germany, we can translate, right? So this is what came out of Raila, Aida. Some people claimed Baba is sick. If he was that sick, I would have brought him in this hospital in Migori here. I would have brought him here. Baba has passed his greetings. He has just taken a break to rest a bit. Let me ask you, if you don't stay with him, let me ask you, how do you know? Yet I am not aware. I am asking someone who do not stay with him. How do they know the way they are talking? Yet I don't know. What I have told you is the truth. Baba is okay. May God bless you. May God protect you. May he be forever. Thank you, Arokamano. Aida has told us that she is Kamano Kabisa. He is Kamano. He has not been unwell because we don't stay with Raila Odinga. But then Oburu is a brother. And Luos, the way I know, I've interacted with a lot of them. I've gone to Kisumu, Homa Bay, Siaya, to all the way to, how do we call this place? And when I look at the way they stay in communal society. Like a brother will visit a brother. A cousin will visit a cousin. You know, an aunt will visit a niece or a nephew. So, don't confuse that, Ada. The reality is that Raila Odinga has been unwell, but he's receiving treatment. The brothers just say he has been indisposable, but he's recapitulating. All right? So that was one of the confusing aspects. And remember, why are people concerned about Raila? Raila has joined forces with Ruto. And so talking about him actually is something that is concerning people, because it is actually weighing whether people really still support him or not. And of course, from the look of things, you realize that some people, a large percent of those who used to support Ayamaziwa, are no longer actually supporting him. That is my take. That is my take for now. Anyway, let's move to a different aspect. We are moving as fast as we can. 39 minutes down the line. Remaining maybe 5 or so minutes. All right? Kwa nini? Yeah. We are moving to the next story here. Let's check on the next. What is this? Kenya Marua. Kenya Marua. Kenya Marua. Yeah, so online community gave some information here.
Hello.
Oh my God.
Hata kama unapanga vilepa, nunua kila mtu. Iko msichana moja hapa Kirinyaga, kiongozi ya msimamo na sheri haito.
Aya, asanteni sana. Harambee! Harambee! Namunaga ninywe. Momero! Woko neko! Aya, kidogo tu tutulie. Tutulie. Kamuda terere. Ninywe. Mwayu merio. Ate goko neko. Moraugatia. Oyo nerigiti. Geketia makireto atia.
Kiongozi ninamwamini hawezi uza watu ya Kirinyaga. Modo tajia dia rorere.
Rorere. Tunaua nyoka na mayai yake. Hey.
Kiharu Member of Parliament.
All right. So let's check into the final story into our today's discussion. Of course, I promised you 40 or 50 minutes, and I'm here to just deliver that. So the last story of today is going to focus on Oscar Sudi versus Ndindi Nyoro. So MP Ndindi Nyoro has raised concerns over Ruto's Nyota program. Of course, there is a Nyota program that was started. Let's just listen to him, and then we'll go and listen to Oscar Sudi.
150 watts, enabling them to start business ventures.
Kwa hivyo mimi ningeomba hata hii pesa Kenya inakopa mingi, kama World Bank wanatupea bilioni 5, si serikali ya Kenya ikiweka bilioni 5, wale user wanapewa waongezeke maradufu, ama badala ya kupewa 50,000 wapewe hata 100,000 waanze biashara mzuri.
The government noted that the project is designed to improve the livelihoods of vulnerable youth, but the legislator thinks otherwise, saying the country can't empower the youth with borrowed money that end up being misused.
Na ukianza kuona kuna crack katika nyumba, you do not call a painter wa kupiga rangi katika hiyo nyumba. What we are doing as Kenya today, we are trying to cure economic problems with political management. We are thinking kama nchi ya kwamba kila mtu akinyamazishwa, chukua hii cheo, chukua ile. We are lying to ourselves that we are providing any solution for our country. We are not.
Nyoro, once a close ally of President William Ruto, only as they continued borrowing by the
So, of course, Ndindi Nyoro was actually against this aspect of small empowerments and was actually trying to propose a permanent solution to financial problems. He was indicating that the Nyota project should rather focus on empowering business people who are strong enough and able to use money into multiplying instead of giving people who misuse. I don't know how this will be interpreted, but anyway, it is something, there is some message in that. Anyway, Let's get back to Oscar Sudi with his narrative of kujaza basket. Let's come back to that and end our day. The reason why one term actually may be frustrated again. Let's look at this. Oscar Sudi, the likes of Oscar Sudi and this guy from Tarbo, Farouk.
Wa shares ule jamaa wa Munyoro jana ule mkabila anasema ati William Ruto ameenda kuungana na Gideon Moi kuchukua KANU. Kibaki alichukua KANU. Kuna siku tulilalamika. Uhuru Kenyatta alichukua KANU. Kuna siku tulilalamika. William Ruto amekuja ameshikana na Raila Odinga. Hiyo ndio ukabila. William Ruto amekuja mpaka Kilifi hapa amechukua aliyekuwa gavana wenu leo ni speaker. Wanga anasema haisifanye kazi na William Ruto, leo ni waziri. Amezunguka Kenya hii yote, hata juzi Uhuru Kenyatta na ile madhambi yake yote ameenda ishawiri kwake akampelekea mbuzi. Hiyo ndio kiongozi tunataka. Sasa yeye ameenda huko na anasema, ni mwana William Ruto, ameenda huko ameungana na Wakalenjin. Mimi nataka nikwambie ndugu yangu.
Oscar Sudi is still selling the narrative of kujaza kikapu. All right. All right. Of course, Oscar Sudi says this, but when you look on the ground, some of us who are at work, we have seen things, you know, like people automatically coming from a certain group and getting even free tickets to work. Like people coming directly from college and being employed from certain ethnic groups, while others are just left to rot and tarmac for years, over years. So anyway, that's our end of our discussion today. Of course, tomorrow we'll have more. Bye-bye for now. Let's meet later.